Hi everyone, welcome to day 25 of the 26 Days to Greatness Challenge. Hope you guys are creating some amazing results so far. And today for letter Y, we have Your Plan, Your Life featuring the one and only Lissa Hilsee. Lissa is the CEO of Lissa Hilsee International, which is dedicated to ensuring individuals and small business owners on how to flourish, not only mentally, physically, financially, but spiritually as well. And she, as a serial entrepreneur, Lissa has conceived, led, and built million-dollar business and nonprofit entities that have positively really impact the lives of so many people. And she's also a coach and consultant with a very unique gift of being able to identify what needs to be done in order to increase production and to eliminate any roadblocks that is in the way for desired expansion. And last but not least, Lissa is also a public speaker who loves to educate and inspire with her humor and irresistible energy. So with that being said, Lissa, such an honor to have you on here today to talk about how to plan for our life and just all the good stuff. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Miko. I'm so happy to be here. It's really, I love helping people more than anything, and I love meeting new people. So, and I can't see you all, but I'm happy to meet you all anyway, and and happy to be here, Miko. Thank you so much for having me.
Yay, awesome. So let's jump straight into this because I know you have so many amazing things prepared for the listeners. So let's begin with telling us a little bit about who Lissa is. How did you get to the amazing success that you have today? Just share about your story.
Sure. It's sort of a crazy story. I mean, I guess everyone has a crazy story, but I started off just not having any idea of knowing what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to help people. That's all I knew. I knew I wanted to brighten the world. I wanted to make it a better place. Had no idea how to do that. So I started off, somebody said, well, you should be a social work major. So I went to college as a social work major, quickly discovered that this was not going to be my thing because, well, I won't go all into that, but it just didn't seem like the right thing for me. So, but at that age, you just don't, maybe some people do, but you don't really know what you're made of, until you really put that pedal to the metal and see what it really is all about,
Yeah.
So, so I ended up just a long series of sort of, whatever coincidences or whatever you want to call them. Ended up as an economics major, and the professor said, you should be a stockbroker. No, he said, actually, you should be a commodities broker. So I said, well, that sounds good. So then a whole bunch of us moved to Boston, and I went to I just hit the pavement. I had to go to a phone booth then, because I'm not 25. So I had to go to a phone booth and, and call, and went to commodities brokerage firms. And I'm going to tell you, they told me I'm going to say this. They told me it was corrupt and it was gambling, and I wouldn't be able to use my education or my intelligence. Okay. So this was in 1980. So, I'm not sure they really wanted a woman there no matter what, but in any event. So I said, oh, okay. Well, then I won't do that then. All right. So then I thought, well, I guess I'll be a stockbroker. So I got up back on the phone. I had my one suit, went down to the Holiday Inn phone booth every day, called on the phone, got a meeting at Payne Weber, went there, and there were, I don't know, maybe 10 men who were training to be stockbrokers there. And they were all handsome. And he said, now you can't be a stockbroker, Lissa, but you can be an assistant. And I said, wow, that sounds great. What's that? So anyway, so I did that, went home every night and screamed. In any event, ultimately, they let me try out being a stockbroker. They said, we'll give you 3 months. There's this new thing called an IRA, which no one had ever heard of. We'll give you 3 months. In the evening, after you do your assistant stuff, you can then try to start an investment business. So, so I did that. And at the end of the time, the branch manager apologized to me and told me they'd be happy for me to become a stockbroker. So in any event, I'll speed things forward from here, but I just enjoy that story because it's fun. So in any event, so I did that for 13 years. I left there as a vice president. And at that point, I thought, you know what? I think there's more for me to do. I loved my clients. They're wonderful, but I want to do more than helping really wealthy people make, you know, a little bit more money. So nothing wrong with it, but just was time to do something else. So that was when I discovered the nonprofit world and sort of fell into that and decided it would be really cool to start a nonprofit that would help people to be able to volunteer. And so then there's a long story about that, but I won't launch into it, but I just dove into the world of nonprofit. And this is part of what it is that I want to get across today, is that both at PaineWebber and now when I went into the nonprofit world, I learned it by just committing myself, like committing first. You know, when I became a stockbroker, I was like, all right, do I want to do this? Why? What's the worst that will happen? If I failed, would I still have wanted to do it? Yes, good. And I just threw myself all in, and I was the youngest vice president at PaineWebber ever, and the second woman at PaineWebber. So then when I dove into the nonprofit world, I didn't know any of it, you know, but I thought, all right, well, it's a business, you know, I'll just figure it out as I go along. And I just learned every skill I had to learn because I was real clear about what my goal was. You know, my goal was I was going to make a large organization. I was going to engage a lot of people in volunteering. I was going to have their time, you know, make an impact. And I just figured it out. Oh, graphic design. Oh, okay. Oh, how do you do bulk mailings to a lot of people? Oh, events. Oh, okay. Oh, I need to call the mayor. Oh, I need to get, you know, so I just figured it out as I went along because I was really clear about the end point. You know, I knew I wanted to have, you know, it was going to take over $1 million and a lot of staff. And it's just me and my grandmother's house. So I had to start from there, and I just did whatever it took to get there. And I don't mean to oversimplify it, but honestly, that clarity of where you want to go and then just doing what you need to do to get there. So I was there for 13 years and have done a lot of things since then. But, you know, that gives you a general idea of the trajectory and the path. And I have just kept embracing doing different things. And because it's, you know, life is fun and it's fun to do different things and you just figure them out as you go along. And it hasn't been boring. I feel like I've lived like 100 lives. So, and I'm not 100. So.
Oh my goodness, so many good stuff already. I am picking up from you while you share that story. Lissa, thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope our listeners already got their journals and notebooks out taking notes, because I got a really couple of good things from what you share, right? The first thing, I really admire the fact that you were able to go after something really pretty much started from the bottom, in an environment where others may have felt like, you know, it was impossible for you. You as a woman in the industry that was just so many men dominated. So that's inspirational. And I, like you're mentioning, like we'll go more into this at the implementation piece of our interview. At the end of the day, it's all about having that end goal, having that clarity, and then you threw yourself out there and then just like did what it took. I resonated with what you said when you said you figured it out along the way, like how to send out a bulk email. I didn't know how to do that either when I first started. So just a lot of that figuring out. So I do have a question for you, Lissa. I'm curious as to, like, what did you remember any major like aha moments along that journey where you really know, like, this is it, this is exactly what I want to do, this is what Lissa was here to do? Did you have those moments?
Yeah, you know, yes. The whole time, you know, I'll tell you, I've always been committed to being true to myself. You know, whatever that meant to me when I was, you know, 8 and 12 and 16, and I'm sure, you know, it's meant different things along the way.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was never willing to do something because it was the, you know, prevailing way to do it, or because I would be accepted, this kind of thing. You know, I like harmony in my life and you know, all those things, but I've never been willing to, I can't do it. I don't have it in me, you know, to do something that because it's the way to do it. So, you know, the way that people say it should be done. So because of that, well, I sort of I got so into that, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, so there's that point. Okay. And then, I think, so my aha moments have come because I kept committed to being what's true to myself. And I think when, you don't have aha moments if you're just trying to be comfortable. You don't have aha moments if you're trying to just fit in and do what's not going to rock the boat. So, and you have to be willing to go along with being uncomfortable and rocking the boat and the ramifications of that. And, whatever, bring it on, because the pain of trying to conform or do something that isn't true to me is excruciating. It's not even impossible for me. So, highly recommend, making your own path and rocking the boat and stepping outside of the, I heard somebody say once that outside of your comfort zone is the magic zone. And I think that's really brilliant. So I guess, let me just give you an example of an aha moment. One for sure was when I really, even recently, as I've continued to have moments where I've reassessed and reassessed and reassessed. I've never stopped that. So, and I just recently had one where I was like, all right, because I just sort of started a whole new path in October of this year, of a vision of like, okay, what do I want to do? This is what I'm in, what Jane Fonda calls her third act. This is the name she has for it. So, and I'm committed. I'm not willing to finish this third act and not reach my full potential of everything that I'm meant to do here, in this life. So I really had to dig down and say, okay, this has all been fun. This has all been great. What do I really want to do? And that's where I got to, really embracing, all of the skills that I have, and not just sort of, utilizing a certain set of skills because of the path that I'm on. So, so I really discovered, that's where I, really realized that I'm committed to using all my skills to help people and small business to, to succeed, as you said in the beginning, physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. And because I've gained a lot of that knowledge and skill throughout my life, and that's what I'm dedicated to helping people do. And I want to embrace all of that with people, whatever people need to be able to be helpful. So
yeah, so it sounds like to me, and that is so true to my journey too. This is something that you get clarity, really, like you get breadcrumbs of it all along the journey. There's not like one divining moment, like this is it. You just get to know yourself more and more as you go.
Yeah. All right. Breadcrumbs. I love the breadcrumbs.
Yes,
That's
breadcrumbs.
Great. That's a good, that's a very good analogy. I love that metaphor. I like that. I'm writing that down. Look at that.
Yeah. We're exchanging ideas over
here.
Yeah,
see that? Yeah.
So, Lissa, I would love for us to transition into the action implementation piece of this interview, because I'm all about creating results, having our listeners to do that. And we really started off this interview in a powerful way, really having that vision at the end goal, knowing what we want, but we also need that plan to support us. So walk us through your strategy. How can we break this down step by step, so that we can take action upon that?
Yeah, great. So, I'm the key to it is that what I have discovered is that the more clarity of what I want to do, I'll say it for me, the more clarity that I've had in my life with what I want to do exactly, and the purpose of it and the outcome of it for other people, that is where the magic takes place. So the first step is really, you could be traveling along your life and you just fall into some kind of situation, like, okay, you're, I don't know, selling whatever, windows or something. I mean, great. And then that's your passion of life, and it's all going to be magical. If it's not, it's going to be harder. And I think we all know that when you're not in the right place, that it's a slog. And who wants a slog? It's just not fun. I mean, of course, with anything, even on your magic path, there are moments that are challenging, but for me, they're not a slog. They're challenges, but it's not painful and I don't know, I love this word slog because it just feels hard and like you're in mud, you know, and you can't walk forward. But so in planning, I want to stop for a second and say that honestly, I think maybe one of my favorite quotes of all time is that Goethe quote about, you know, be bold. In boldness is power and magic. And you know, I have found that for sure when you do stop, you know, have a clear vision of where you're going, make a plan about how to get there, and emphasis on clarity of vision. When you're making a plan, really it's the clarity of vision that is the most important, because magic does come and help you. You know, I've found that. So it's sort of more important to have a clear vision and start, you know, and, you know, and make sure you're really clear about where you're going and that is the plan. And I'll talk more about the mechanics of the plan, but that really, I just really want to underscore that, because magic does happen, and you can plan till the cows come home, but if you don't get into action, it's not going to happen. And it's way more important. So, yeah, so the simplicity of it is, you know, okay, what's my overall goal? What do I want to produce for the world? You know, what am I going to produce? What's going to come out of that? And so then therefore, what are the areas of that? What are the action steps going to be that I need to take to do that? And I just do that real high level. You know, I do it real high level, and I get into action, and I just the important part is to make sure that every day your actions are the ones that are that are aligning with the goal. Here's a really important key, and that is that I every day know, so I know what the 5 to 10 actions are I have to take every single day, and I measure those actions.
Okay, measurable.
I measure them, right? So if I know that I need to make phone calls, then I say, all right, this week I'm going to make 200 phone calls. And that means I need to make X number of calls per day, depending how many days, you know, 5 days, 7 days, whatever you're dividing it by, you know. And I track that every day. And that's the key. And you just have to have the right things you're measuring, do those things, and it's
okay, awesome. Yeah, so let me just break it down to make sure I'm getting it correctly. So step number 1 is just having that clarity about vision, where the end goal that we want to get to, having that target destination. So would you recommend us like writing that down?
Yes.
Put it somewhere?
Yes. Writing it down. Yep.
Okay, so writing it down. And do you usually like put it maybe up a wall so that you get to see it every day? What do you do?
I'm a Word document girl. I just type it.
You type it. Okay. Yeah, so that means like, you know, whatever works for everyone listening, like there's no specific way to do it the right way. But okay, step number 1 is the clarity of the vision. And then step number 2 is to just like really laying out the action steps that are in alignment with that vision. And you want it to be measurable, and you can track it every single day.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. So can we do an example right here? Maybe.
Sure.
I'll bring up an example. So for example, I have a goal of creating an online program that supports my audience to deepening their relationships with their family or loved ones, while at the same time create results in their business. So if I have that vision, what do I need to do next? So that's step number 1, my clarity.
So let's just take the relationship part just to keep it.
Okay.
All right. So you want online program to deepen people's relationships, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then you're you know that your product is people. You have to sort of define in your mind, you know, like really clarify, what does it mean deepen relationships? What is that? How does that show up? What's that look like? Because what's your purpose? People, your purpose then is people who have what? People who have happy families, or do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like you got like what is it? Like what
so
is
like specific, really specific clarity. That's what I'm getting. Okay, so what kind of people? I would love to support highly ambitious people with a desire in the heart to create. That's not clear. Yeah.
Right. So I think the key to, and tell me if I'm not getting it right, but the key is this idea of what you mean by deepen relationships.
Okay. Deepen relationship as in you feel that the wholeness of who you are, you can bring it to your interactions with people. You don't feel like you have to cover up or show up differently.
Oh, okay. So really what you wanted is to teach people how to have good people around them that they can trust.
Good people. Yeah, that's important.
And to be, I mean, that's, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if that's, if
it's more so like they can show up authentically in front of people, that they don't feel like they need to be someone else, and having that wholeness within them first. So relationship with themselves, not just with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so gosh, there's so much more to understand about this. So how does that show up for you, that people have, see, how would you measure that? You see what I'm saying? How would you measure that? Because, and so I think it needs a little more digging, right? Like, how do you measure that? What does that look like? How are you going to know? Like, let's say you accomplish that with one person. How do you know you achieved that with this person? Because they're now willing to do more Facebook Lives, or they're on there, they're on with no makeup. Like, what, it's really what is, and all this is doing is not to be, a pain in the neck to you, but like, it's really doing it so that you're like, oh yeah, this is what I want to achieve, and this kind of digging, I find really where you get to, it's like,
So basically, I want to have in my mind that clarity of like the exact results that I want to create for my people that I'm supporting.
Yep.
Okay.
Because then when you know exactly what it is, then you're going to do the right actions. You're going to help them in the right way. You're going to, and
so Lissa, to support our listeners, if they want to do the same process, and I'm sure they do, with whatever specific goals that they have. So how can we get that clarity? Like, what would really support them? Do they talk about it? Do they journal about it?
I think you hit right on it, Miko. I mean, I think for me, I think this is true for most people. When you talk out loud, you just find someone trusted, who you can just say it out loud to, who isn't going to tell you the answer that they think is the answer. That's the key. It's got to be a trusted person who can just listen, hear what you're saying, but not say, oh, well, I think what you mean is blah, blah. It's got to be, but I do think talking it through out loud is good. Now, the other way to go is to be with yourself about it and just say, I heard somebody else say this recently, of saying like, okay, I want to achieve this. Well, why? Well, because blah, blah, blah. Well, but why? Because blah, 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 blah. So, and it just doing that process gets you to the real reason why, which is the real purpose, and therefore what you're trying to achieve. Does that make sense? Was that all clear? Okay.
Yeah. Basically, because I feel like a lot of times we have all these desires and all these goals immediately, like we want $1 million, but we don't know the.
That's what I was. Like, yes.
We have those desires, but it's sometimes motivated by what others think we need to have. It's not driven by our inner desire.
Right, exactly. So I was thinking that, Miko, $1 million is a perfect example. Why?
Yeah, why?
So I can buy anything I want. Well, why? So that I can feel like I did a good job. Why? Because, so that I, can feel good about myself, or whatever it is, but that, I think that gets you to the real why, which then is
that's good.
Where the magic happens.
Yes, and just by hearing you answer that why question, I can see how someone can really dive all the way deep down to what the ultimate issue is, so that instead of like seeking the $1 million to fill some sort of void in them. They might just need to feel more love for themselves. So that was a really good aha moment I got there.
Good.
Okay, so to summarize how this process work again is, number one, just having that crystal clear clarity on a vision, and to get that clarity, we want to do the process of like, but why, just really getting that all the way down. What's that inherent desire driving it? And then we want to have,
can I just interject real quick, Miko? Sorry.
Yes.
At that same time, when you're doing that, you want to balance that with what's the outcome that you're trying to achieve. So you have the goal, what's the outcome you're trying to achieve in the world, right? So if somebody has a housing company and they want to build houses, then the product they want to have is, well-built houses or something, so.
Okay. So you got to have clarity on the why, and also what's the outcome that you want to produce for other people, because it's all about service and how we can serve. Okay, cool. So, and then the step number 2 is we want to create action plan, specific action plan that we can follow, that's measurable, and that we can track every single day.
Yep.
Okay. So to wrap this up, I want to know, how do you recommend for us to track it? Like, because this is something that I struggle with for a really long time as someone who's super ambitious. Like, I would catch myself at the end of the day, like counting everything that didn't work, and I didn't praise myself for the things that did work. So how do you like track your results at the end of the day?
Yeah. I mean, I think first it's just straight up numbers, it's like, okay, I said at the beginning of the day, I was going to, send out, 20, do a Facebook Live, do one Facebook Live and, post 25 things on Instagram or whatever it is, right? And then you go, okay, did I do it? No, I didn't do it. Okay, that means tomorrow I have to do blah, blah, blah,
Okay.
And then I think the other thing is that, and this is, Grant Cardone has a planner that I use. And
10X?
Grant Cardone's the 10X guy. Yes.
I have that planner too.
Yes, right? Yes, of course you do. So, so he has on it, and I don't do it enough, but he has very smartly on it that at the end of the day, you write your successes. And I think you've hit on a really important point. I think it's really important. What did I do today that I feel good about? Because when you feel like when you know what you did do, it builds your morale. You feel good because you're like, and a lot of us who are real big achievers do that. It's not enough. It's not enough, which is great because it's motivating. It is also important to celebrate our successes. And I actually don't do a good enough job. I don't do a good enough job with that, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks for the reminder. Yeah.
So that's important for our listeners to know, like, to track it, because sometimes I feel like we can tend to really look at like what didn't work out so much more than what we did do that was a win. So really celebrate our wins, small wins, and really build confidence along the way. So, that was so good. Okay, so really creating that plan, and you really broke it down step by step for us, Lissa. Not just like a plan, which is sometimes can be really abstract for a lot of people. But if we can really follow the specific step, clarity of your vision with the why and the purpose, the outcome, and then we want to break it down with measurable, specific action steps that can track at the end of the day. And then we want to celebrate the wins. So if we do that, everyone, I hope you guys all implement tonight and create a plan for whatever goals you have, and then just like you can rock it out. So my question, to sum this up, Lissa, this came to my mind right away after having that plan, and some of our listeners may be thinking about this, like, how soon do we see results when we have a plan like this in place?
Oh my gosh, it's boom, instant. It's immediate.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's, you don't go from 0 to 100, but the results are immediate. You get the traction right away. And that's also how you know that you're on the right path. For me, I know I'm on the right path. If it sort of magic happens, I know I'm on the right path. And, if you're not, it's not the right path, it's not the right plan, it's not, something's not right. That's what I think. That's in my experience. You know, you have to be disciplined, you've got to be ethical. You can't say, well, you know, I worked enough, I'm going to watch TV for 5 hours. I personally, I don't think that's going to really be workable, but, and, you know, you know, things that maybe you're not being true to yourself, those kind of things, then that doesn't, those are separate issues. That you've got to have that. You've got to work hard. You've got to have discipline. You've got to be ethical. You do all that. If you have the right plan and you're doing the right actions, magic's going to happen pretty quickly.
Oh, I love that. If magic happens, then I am on the right path. That's good.
That's my experience. That's all I can speak to.
Oh, this was so fun, Lissa. And I got so much more clarity too for what I gotta get more clarity on, what the work that I gotta do. So
good. I'm happy to help you, Miko. If you want me to help you more, I'm happy to help you more.
Oh yeah, amazing. And I know you are also just really best way to transition to our next segment, because I know you are also willing to support our listeners too if they want continuous like more support. So how can, first of all, share with our listeners, how can they find you online and stay connected with you after this?
Yep, absolutely. So, so I am, I'm happy to do, if anyone would like to have a 20-minute, just, you know, consult on what's happening and what to do, I'm happy to do that. It's fun for me. I love helping. And I am pretty good at getting to the, as you said earlier, the sort of the root of an issue pretty quickly. And sometimes it takes a back and forth in a conversation, but I'm pretty good at doing that. And my, you know, and one of the things I measure is the number of people I've helped. So, so, you know, the more people I do that with, the more people I help, and that all works out for me in the end. So I'm happy to do that. And, I am on Facebook, Lissa Hilsee, on Instagram, Lissa Hilsee, and there you go. Yeah.
Great. And then I will be including the link to get access to Lissa's 20 minutes consultation. Definitely take advantage of that, everyone. And that link will be in the same email that this interview has went out to. So just go back to the email and get your hands on that and stay connected with Lissa. And I'll put her Facebook and social media links on there as well. And before we end this, Lissa, do you have any last words for our listeners?
You know, I think the probably the biggest thing is that, you know, what, you know, everyone knows in their heart, and that is that you really can do anything. And it's just a matter of just never letting anything else come in, and anything come in and tell you that you can't, because you really can. If it's the right thing for you and you do all the right actions, it happens. It's just that simple. Really is pretty simple. So
oh, this was great. My biggest takeaway from this was really like, I can see how much fun you always have, Lissa, all your whole life, your journey, and that is the secret sauce, like having fun, but also at the same time having that framework, the structure of your plan, so that you can, you know, at least be operating within going the direction of your destination, but at the same time, like, have fun with it and just enjoy. So I hope you guys all go
fun and focus. There's my alliteration. Fun and focus.
Yes, fun and focus. What a good way to wrap this up. Fun and focus. Everyone go have some fun, but also stay focused at the same time. All right. Thank you so much, Lissa.
Thank you, Miko. Thank you.
All right, everyone, I'll see you tomorrow on our last day ever, and get some work done today. Go have fun. Bye, Lissa.
Bye, Miko.